Consistently attract soulmate clients. Begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalyn Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize.
Hello, my love. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so deeply honored to have you choose to listen to my podcast. If you enjoy this episode, please do leave a review. Take a screenshot of this podcast and shout me out on social media so that more people can get to know about this too. On Instagram is Bold Sexy Warrior, and on Facebook it's Rosalyn Fung Coaching Bold Sexy Warrior. It would mean the world to me for you to take a few minutes to share and review this episode, as I would love to spread more love and consciousness to the collective. So let me ask you these questions. Do you like to be a rebel when it comes to business? Are you a trailblazer, or wish you have the guts to be one? Do you have huge dreams, but they seem to be too, quote unquote, unrealistic? This episode is going to be grabbing life by the balls and going after what you really want to create in your business so unapologetically. This is all about defining success on your own terms. So I have with me my new soul sister and girlfriend, who our mutual virtual assistant introduced us to each other. Her name is Savannah Hamilton, and Savannah is a rule-loathing adventure and thrill seeker that believes blazing the trail to your own success doesn't have to take a lifetime. You see why I really enjoy her? Savannah believes the right environment, people, and mindset, no matter how astronomical your dreams are, your vision can take on such vivacious form. It can't be tamed, and there is no other option than to experience it now. Savannah features some of the world's foremost thought leaders on personal transformation and business strategies on her own podcast, Wild Within, and in her Masterminds. She is highly regarded as the ultimate authority on the secrets of success. Her sought-after international success experiences are known all over the world for their revolutionary approach to masterminds and transforming the way women do business. Let's welcome Savannah. Hi, my love.
Hi, gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Thank you for such a beautiful introduction. All the goosebumps.
I am so excited for us to jam on our podcast today. I think that it is going to be so much mic drops and golden bombs that this is going to be super juicy. So I'd love to let you share, what is your story? How did you get to where you are today?
Oh, well, does everybody have some time? Because it's been quite the roller coaster. But, very different from the world I lead today. I'm originally from this small, tiny, rural farm town. I graduated with, I think, 49 people, so very remote, very tiny, and I always just had these big city dreams. Like, I knew deep inside with me there was something, I was meant for more, and I did kind of what everybody does after they graduate high school. I went to college, I got a good boyfriend, I bought my first house when I was 21, I graduated with my nursing degree, and I just had this restlessness for more. And I was like, there has to be more than cornfields and these bonfires and corn cobs and cows. There has to be more to life than this. And when I was 24 years old, I broke up with my boyfriend. I sold my house. I packed everything that I owned in a car, and I headed west. I moved to San Diego without even setting eyes on being in San Diego. I'd never traveled outside the state of Ohio. And I moved there, and I just was like, you know what? I'm going to wing it. Like, sink or swim, come heck or high water, I'm going to make it. Like, I am tired of the cold. I'm tired of cornfields. I'm tired of just kind of this monotonous, boring lifestyle. I saw, kind of at that time, it was, I think reality TV wasn't even a thing, but I remember seeing, it was like MTV Cribs, and all these people had mansions and these beautiful houses. And I was like, I want that. Like, I want that life. So moved to San Diego, started traveling globally, found out that that was one of my deepest passions. And from there, I am just like kind of baseline, I'm an overachiever. I am a perfectionist. All recovering, I would say. But in my 20s, I gained a lot of my self-worth through my achievements. So when I was out in California, although I was really happy, I was like, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? So I still didn't feel worthy. I still didn't feel like I was able to have the life I wanted. So I was like, okay, I'll get my master's degree. Got my master's degree, became a nurse practitioner, still wasn't happy. So then I was like, okay, well, if I just make more money, then I'll be more happy. So I ended up getting my first deal out of college was like a 6-figure job. I worked 1 week on, 1 week off, traveling the globe, and did what most people was like living the life, right? I was able to travel every other week. I was single, just living the life. And inside I was so miserable and so unhappy. And I was just on this hamster wheel of experiencing so many things, but never actually allowing them to sink in, never allowing myself to choose what I wanted to do. It was always, I was being there for everybody else. I was doing this because I thought it was the right thing to do, or I thought it would bring me satisfaction. And I ended up getting relocated for a job in an even more remote town than I grew up in. And I was pulled away from the party scene and being a socialite and working with 15 of my best girlfriends as a nurse. And I didn't have nature to go out in. And I really think I was pulled there for a reason. And people, they were like, oh my gosh, Savannah, you're so crazy. Why are you moving to Iowa? I don't know if your listeners are familiar with the United States, but it's literally like smack dab in the middle, remote, really nothing there. And I knew I had to go there, and I went there and I had to sit by myself, and it wasn't a very pretty place. It wasn't fun to sit by myself. I didn't like the thoughts or the chatter that was going on in my voice, and it was actually my time to do a lot of deep soul work, and I think that's why I was directed there by the universe, and I'm so thankful for the experience. But I started diving in to meditation and really understanding what does Savannah want in life? What makes Savannah happy? Do I even like nursing? Am I going after these careers at these sought out hospitals, but then not being satisfied? Like, why am I doing that? And really kind of just rediscovering who I was. And that was about right at my Saturn return, and right when I turned 30, and I discovered the work of Louise Hay. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she's kind of like, she's amazing, the godmother of self-love. And I really just learned how to love myself there. And it was something I never experienced before. I always thought, learning to love yourself was either indulgent, or it was selfish, or it was egocentric. And I was like, no, no one else gets to live this life but you. No one else gets to walk in your shoes but you. You don't get to go home to anybody else but yourself. And that wasn't a comfortable place for so many years in my life. And I really just started to love me. And from there, I actually ended up getting fired from my dream job as a nurse practitioner, not because I did anything wrong, but because they said I just wasn't a good fit, because when I was there, I was quiet. I wasn't myself. I didn't feel supported. It was a very sterile environment and kind of a patriarchal, where it was just not for me. And they were right. And I think Oprah, she says it's the best. Like, when you get fired, you tell them thank you. And it was one of the best things that have ever happened, because although I love supporting people, healthcare in itself, especially Western medicine, just doesn't resonate with me anymore. And I was living in two different worlds, like going to work, making good money, but not being happy with the care that I was giving patients. And so I took about 6 months off and just really did some more deep soul working. By this time, I think I was 32, and I loved traveling. And I was like, okay, well, how can I combine my passion and my traveling? And that's how I started getting into the work I do today. I hosted 3 international women's retreats. I chose to not go back to nursing. And then it flourished into, I did coaching for about a year. And now this year, I'm kind of doing a little pivot to, I think they say your work is never done. So just when I thought I had everything figured out, I'm now taking a pivot and specifically hosting international masterminds to support women to be able to talk about making money and being okay with making a lot of money and feeling supported and having a good time while doing it as well.
Oh my God, that sounds like my kind of jam and my kind of mastermind. That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And as our audience is listening, I know that there are women out there who are feeling like they have made it. They have worked so hard through their academia to get to where they thought they needed to be in order to be happy. And then when they arrive, it's like, I'm not happy. I'm not feeling fulfilled. I feel empty, and yet feeling guilty at the same time, quote unquote, should be happy. And I feel like this story will speak a lot to these humans who are going through this right now. I mean, I can even relate for myself. I thought that when I had the perfect body, when I get into private practice as a psychologist, that I would arrive at feeling worthy and feeling super happy and fulfilled. And that was not the case. That was like a big freaking lie.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
oh my gosh, yes.
I can really hear how for you can see it now. And I'm curious, back then, did you see it as a blessing as you were getting moved to a smaller town that was a lot more quieter, and then being introduced to more holistic approaches to take you home to yourself? Did you see that as a blessing at that time, or were you kind of like feeling lost and wondering why this was happening to you? What was your mindset like at that time?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I did not see that this was a blessing at all. I think feeling lost is something that really stands out, and that I think in all of my journey, it's that you're constantly searching, right? And then that kind of, there was even, I would say, an inner like shame, because once you get to the top and you're like, I should feel good. I should be thankful for what I have. I should feel, there's so many people that have so much less than me. And it definitely was a very confusing and kind of just like, I think Esther Hicks describes it as being in a wobble. Like, you're like, well, some things are okay, but this isn't, like, I'm not really where I want to be. And absolutely, I didn't know what the blessing was coming upon me at all.
When did you start to feel into the realization that, because I always like to say rejection is spirit's protection and redirection. So my sense is you feel that, right? You had said, when you got fired, but like, I feel like it happened before that. When was that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think when I moved to Iowa, when I accepted my first nurse practitioner job, and just being stripped away from everything that made me. I was going out to parties and I was going on adventures and I was traveling and I had all my girlfriends. And that's what made me all this very superficial levels. And then being pulled away from that, slowing down and being forced to be by myself, that was kind of the start of me being like, maybe there's something more. Maybe I'm meant for more than these external goals and accomplishments. And maybe there's more to life than this, right? And if all of this isn't going to bring me happiness, then what is?
I'm going to just really highlight this as we move into commercial. I want you as listeners to really reflect on right now in your life, how on a scale of 1 to 10, satisfied are you with your life, with where you're at in the different areas of life, particularly with your health, with your career, with your social life, with your contribution to the world, really, and with your relationships, both intimate and friendships and family. I want you to really reflect on this as we move into commercial, and when we come back, we're going to go a little bit deeper.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Life is a flow, and enlightenment is simply harmonizing with the way life really is. Then you find that life is effortless, benevolent, and free of all suffering. Hey everyone, this is GP Walsh, and I want to invite you to my brand new radio show that's launching right here on OMTimes Radio called The Flow of Enlightenment. I've been a spiritual teacher for decades, and my greatest pleasure is being able to share with you these deep and highly practical spiritual ideas. So join me in The Flow every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern and let yourself be transformed.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hi, welcome back, my love. So, Savannah, I'd love to have you share with the audience, just if we could zoom into your story, because again, I know there's lots of people who are feeling like I have arrived and I'm not feeling satisfied with where I am in my life, whether it's one area or many areas, and particularly with career or business. So help us understand, what point did you realize like nurse practitioner isn't quite what you wanted to do for the rest of your life? And how do you even know where to start? I feel like so many people are really leaning and going, where do I even start? I don't even know what life could look like outside of what I'm doing right now.
Great question. And if your listeners are going through this point, I just know that I'm sending them so much love and so much just positive energy, because it is, and it can be a really, really scary place. And you feel, I know for myself, I felt like I didn't have any other option. I had been in healthcare for 14 years. It was the only career that I have ever experienced. And so I was like, there is no other option. Like, this is it. And that that feeling, I resonate if any of your listeners are feeling that right now, that feeling of despair, that feeling like there's no options. And I just want them to know that there are other options, and you can have whatever it is that you want in your life. And it doesn't have to be some like quick automatic switch. So for me, once I got fired, I was like, okay, like wake up call from the universe. This is the universe just giving me that gentle nudge in the right direction. And I think that a lot of our actions and thoughts, for me, what was really helpful is that I had been kind of diving into consciousness and understanding, scarcity and abundance thoughts. And I started to really tune in and get attentive on what my thoughts were and what they were saying, and were they coming from a scarcity or an abundant mindset. And then instead of, I think what we do, I think your first step is having awareness. And I think that comes from the discomfort, right? So we're in this place, we're not comfortable, but then the next phase of that is allowing yourself to dive into the possibility, to feel into the possibility, to think into the possibility, because for so long I was like, I'm not happy. This isn't what I want to do. I don't have any other options. This is what I went to school for. I have $100,000 in student debt, and just like hitting my head on the wall. And you and I both know that kind of thinking, that type of mentality isn't going to get you anywhere. It's going to keep you stuck. And once I slowed down and started to become aware of my thought process and what I was thinking, the things that I was saying to myself, I then was able to say, well, if not this, then what? Then what? If not this, and what? Like, what else can I have in my life? And really, instead of being fixated on what society told me I should do, on what my parents wanted me to do, on what my friends told me to do. So many of them, when I remember when I was leaving, they were like, oh my gosh, you have $100,000, you paid all that money for school. You went to school for 6 years. How can you leave that? You have a 6-figure job, 401k, health insurance. I know you went through this as well. And when you stop listening to all the noise and listen to your intuition and listen to your gut, that's where you can find the direction.
Oh, so powerful. Okay, I'm gonna just really sum up so far. So you've mentioned this a few times already. So the power of slowing down.
Oh my gosh.
When I hear that, it's so powerful to slow down, right? To take yourself inward and really be in a deeper relationship with yourself. That's what slowing down means, and really being aware of our own thoughts without judgment, but rather with curiosity, because we can't be curious and judgmental at the same time. And so what I'm really hearing is being in the awareness of your thoughts, including the ones that are really uncomfortable. You're right. We cannot change anything if we don't have awareness first. And so what I really heard you say was, in that awareness, you were really dissecting, is this a thought that's abundant? Meaning, is this serving and supporting and growing and expanding? Or is this thought coming from scarcity, meaning lack, playing small, not enough, fear? And once you got really clear about that, my sense is you start to move towards the thoughts that were expansive, and then you were able to allow yourself to go into the possibilities and explore, like, what would that look like? What does that feel like if I was to follow this thought, if I was to follow this vision? And I can hear how much more expansive that became for you. And so this allowed you to listen to your gut more and more. Does that sound like I got it?
Yes. Oh my gosh, summed it up perfectly. And I will say one thing that I wasn't aware of at the time was how much my worth was tied into my title. And looking back, yeah. And looking back, I think that was one of the biggest hurdles I had to let go of, was who am I if I'm not a nurse practitioner? Who am I if I don't have this master's degree? And once I was able to say, I'm worthy, I'm Savannah, I'm full of love, I'm worthy of being loved, even without this title, even without being a nurse practitioner, that's when I allowed myself to dive into the possibility.
Oh my gosh, we have a very similar story. I can fully relate. Who am I without this title of psychologist? Also going to for 6 years and getting a graduate degree, master's degree, and just and then going through the hurdles of getting registered, which is a whole other thing on top of that. And I'm sure it's for that. So it's like all you know is this academia and this level of success according to society, that we're only worthy if we have a certain title, if we have credentials, if we, have this status, if you will. And I get it. Like, how did you unravel that for yourself? Because I know for myself, this was the mask I had to take off. The mask of,
my gosh,
I have this status. Yeah. So ego.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I didn't realize how much of my life was being led by my ego at that time. And, I wish I could tie it in a beautiful bow for you guys and tell you when I discovered, but she still creeps up every now and then. But I think it's just like you said, slowing down, diving into yourself even more instead of the external world to find your answers, because the world is so noisy. And if you're climbing the ladder of success, or you're pursuing a career, or whatever you're doing in your life, if it's based on what society or somebody else tells you and not yourself, you're never going to be truly satisfied.
1,000%. And I love that you really stripped yourself of the outside expectations and really came home to yourself to see, who are you? Who are you without all of these titles, these things, these belongings, whatever materialistic things that we in our society superficially makes us feel like we're enough. Who are we? And I just love that you came to your light, your love. And that is what we all are. And so help us understand where you then took yourself to follow your nudges so that you could start to create a business of your dreams.
Well, that hasn't been it's been a beautiful road as well. But, it's just been this journey, and I think I'm still there today, of ever unfolding, ever understanding myself and listening to myself and trusting my gut even more and more. And my first year of business, when I decided not to go back into nurse practitioning, and I was like, how can I, incorporate my passion of traveling? And so I was like, okay, I'll be a travel blogger. And that was not fulfilling at all. I didn't like writing travel guides. That wasn't fulfilling. I really had this deep passion to help people on a bigger scale than what was behind the hospital walls. And I hosted 3 international retreats my first year of business, and I just wanted to solely do retreats. But then I listened to society, and I was like, oh, you can't just be a retreat host. You have to have credentialing, and you have to have authority and expertise. And so I was like, okay, then I will be a coach as well. Like, I'll dive into being a coach. And for the past year and a half, I've done coaching. I love coaching. All my clients have been super successful, but I've had wins with it, but it always felt like a struggle. And it always felt like a struggle to do all the things that if your listeners are familiar with the coaching world and on Instagram, and specifically where I was, you're just overloaded with everything and all the things that you should be doing and trying. And I was new to this, so I tried all of them, and it just always felt like a struggle. And I thought that I was like, okay, well, I have to figure out my niche and I have to talk to one person and all the things that you absolutely should do. But I was doing it more like a wrecking ball, I would say, versus slowly with intention.
A wrecking ball. I think all of us relate to that one. Yes. Well, it's the breakdown before the breakthrough, right?
Yes, I will agree. And I think like every experience has been a stepping stone to get me exactly where I am today. And just like you said, I needed to have this kind of breakdown of my coaching business to realize that I wasn't being true to myself once again. And I was it's like I recreated my previous like society expectations with a nurse practitioner. I recreated that in the world of Instagram. So I was doing what everybody told me I should be doing, what all the quote unquote successful people say to do. And I was doing all of them. But when I really stopped and was like, for me, I think one of the big things and one of the things that your audience can take away from this is like slowing down to define what success looks like for you. And if you're an ambitious female entrepreneur and ready to go out and, make a difference in your life and other people's life, it's easy to get caught up in that rat race, but we don't define what success looks like for us, and what worked for somebody else might not work for you. And just because somebody else is having 6-figure months because they release so many courses or have a beautiful product suite doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for you. And when I stopped and really started to dissect that, the number one thing for success for me is freedom. And that's actually why I stayed in nursing for so long, is because I worked 3 days a week and then I had 4 days off. And that, I loved it. Like that, for me, personal time freedom is number one, the most successful, like that is what defines success for me, one of the huge major core values. And I was forcing myself as a coach to like show up all the time and be there for my clients and be available to them 24 hours, 7 days a week, and show up on Instagram and post every day. And I was just miserable. And I'm like, what am I doing? And so I really, once again, had to stop and say, Savannah, like, what does success look like for you? What is your success? Like, what is a business that you love and could do for the rest of your life? What does that look like for you? And really gaining clarity on that.
Oh my goodness, those are really powerful questions. And I just want to acknowledge you right now, Savannah, just for your total vulnerable honesty in your process in the last year and a half. Like, that is amazing for you to just be real. And that's what I ask people to be, is to be real. It's like, we see, and I feel like a lot of people struggle with comparing themselves to what they see on social media. And social media, there's coaches out there who are killing it. It looks like that they're killing it, and their pictures are perfect. Their brand is right on target. But what I come to learn, having been connected with a lot of these coaches, is they're not actually feeling super aligned, or they're realizing, gee, this is not really what I signed up for. And I love how incredibly real you're being right now to say that. And you took aligned action by going inside again and doing your process so that you can really honor you and pivot to be more aligned for what you want to create in this world that would feed your soul as well as other souls. Like, that is so powerful.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for honoring that. I appreciate that.
I feel like it's the work that you have done, because I know that I was on that journey too, right? Where it's really scary to be vulnerable. And I just really think you're being such a beautiful model right now for many of us to see that it's okay to admit that things aren't quote unquote perfect. What is that? But that you're learning. And I love the word ever unfolding. I absolutely feel the truth of that we are always ever unfolding, and that we're always ever evolving, and that there's something new always emerging within us, as long as we are listening to ourselves and connected with our gut, our intuition. And for many of us, that might be connecting with spirit as well, so that we can feel more guided for the highest truth and good. I feel like that's really important. And so
oh my gosh.
so many ways we could see this. And so what would you say was the number one thing that supported you to really be unapologetic and go for your dreams, no matter how wild, no matter how crazy it seems?
The number one. I think I would love, I've thankfully had the beautiful support of so many coaches, but I don't think, even like reeling back in, and even prior to, I remember hiring my first coach, none of this would have been possible if I wouldn't have taken the time to develop a relationship with myself, to love myself, to be unapologetic, and the love for myself, and standing up for myself and saying, I'm meant for more. This isn't right for me, and feeling okay with that. If I never would have taken the time to develop that, I would have never had the courage to do so.
Oh, I love it. I really feel like I fully 1000% agree. It's the foundation of loving ourselves and believing ourselves and betting on ourselves. So when we come back, I'd love to have the audience learn more about your international success experiences that you offer to this world.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, love. So, Savannah, tell us more about, you call them unmasterminds, which I love. So share more with us about your unmasterminds, and I believe they're called international success experiences.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, they are my biggest pivot, and the thing that I know that you talk about, soulgasmic work, and it honestly, truly feels like that for me. So I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with retreats, just going and nourishing your soul, nourishing your body. And then if you're not, masterminds are usually a group of, high level people that you surround yourself with to learn from, to grow from, to expand your networks. And I've hosted both of these, and I was like, I don't love just retreats. I still love traveling. But for me, and how I kind of pivoted out of coaching was I love being the host. I love curating experiences. And how can I do this for women and allow them to have more fun, more play, but learn and grow at the same time? So what I'm working on now, and I just finalized, my first one will be next June, but they're technically unmasterminds, so kind of a revolutionary, transformative way to look at how we, like I said before, how we learn, grow, play. And what they'll be for is specifically for women, because I see this gap there's conferences available, there's seminars available, there's retreats available, there's masterminds available, but there's nothing specifically geared to women, to where we can come. And for women, I feel especially, and I think you'll understand this as well, I know you have a beautiful tribe, but women need community. We need to feel supported and loved and nourished. And how can I do that on a bigger freaking scale? So what these are bucket list, once-in-a-lifetime experiences for women entrepreneurs or business women who they're successful in their own, their business, but they feel like their work-life balance is out of whack. They're constantly telling themselves they're okay because they love it and it doesn't feel like work. But they're craving a little more excitement. They're craving that soulgasmic, as you call it. They need more of that in their life. And they feel a little stagnant in their life and their business. They're asking themselves what's next. And they just don't feel like they have time to go on trips. And for me, I know that it's kind of like that shower. When we're in the shower, some of your best ideas come up, right? And I know that some of your most creative business ideas cannot happen behind a computer screen. I mentioned before how much I love traveling, and what I love most about it is being immersed in the cultures and the experiences, and kind of being, as we talked before, about how women wear so many masks and so many titles, being stripped away from being any of that and coming back to your core essence, not having to worry about your business, your kids, your husbands, any of that, and just coming home to yourself to be able to reignite that curiosity and that creativity, and really up level not only yourself, your business, but your tribe as well, by surrounding yourself with other successful female businesswomen and entrepreneurs. And then through that, I'll be bringing in leading experts. So my mastermind specifically, they're going to be for women who want to talk about money, make it okay for women to talk about making a lot of money, being okay with that, and not just making more money for the sake of making more money, but making more money to create a bigger impact.
Wow. This sounds like so much fun. So much fun. That is right up my alley. I'm in. So
sold.
Play and learning are such huge values of mine. They are absolutely a top value of mine. The way that you're bringing community together with these values is totally what I'm about. I did not realize we were that similar. When Rachel introduced us, she's like, yeah, you guys are going to get along really well. Now I'm really seeing the deeper why of this, because we have very similar values, and bringing in community of like-minded women coming together and desiring to have more balance, have more excitement, have more flow and fun in their life. Hello.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So activated for us to feel even more fulfilled. And
absolutely.
Chakra, right? Just the creative fire energy, that pleasure energy. It's just so beautiful. And so I want to say thank you to you. I know that so many people are going to want to know, how do we get a hold of Savannah? So I'm going to lead us to a light language activation to help you get untamed and wild into a juicier life and business. And then at the end of this episode, I'm going to have Savannah share how you guys can connect with her. So let's have you start to take yourself inward and just feel into the sensations of your body right now as you're listening to this episode, all the juiciness that came up, and feel into the one thing that's really standing out for you right now. Perhaps it was a part of Savannah's story. Perhaps it is about needing to peel off some masks around title, around worth, coming home to yourself, slowing down, exploring bigger, powerful questions. Getting curious into all the possibilities of creating even more fun, excitement, fulfillment in your life. So just really connecting with what stood out for you and then breathing within. Really expanding your breath into your body, breathing into your side body, expanding into your heart space, into your back of your heart space. And then taking your time to breathe out anything that doesn't serve or support any resistance, any contractions. You're done with playing small. And just breathing in through your root chakra, the base of your pelvic bone there, and then breathing in. This is the foundation, area of your safety, feeling grounded, feeling anchored, feeling safe. And then your next inhale, breathing into your womb space, so you're just below your belly. This is your fire. Activating your fire, activating your creativity, activating your self-worth, activating your pleasure, your sensual, sexual energy. I truly believe this is where manifesting starts to happen. When we really ignite this soul essence part of us. Seeing this fire grow even more in your core. Feeling into the truth of who you really are. Letting yourself be here. Leaning into you. If your mind still feels very busy, put your thoughts on a cloud, let them float away. Just be here, focusing on your breath, focusing on fire in your belly. And allowing yourself right now to dream, to move into your big vision. And as you do so, breathe into your solar plexus, is your power energy center. This is your place of power. It's beautiful sunshine color. And then breathing into your heart space, breathing your big dream into here, breathing into the possibilities. And any thoughts that seem to be holding you back from allowing yourself just to be right now, be playing in the arena of possibilities. Just say thank you and let it go. And stay with the dream, just like as a child, everything is possible. There is no limit. Remember her or him. Remember how big you used to dream. You get to dream big now. You get to dream big right now. And you get to continue dreaming big and continue being creative and continue following your soul's path. You are here to live on purpose. You are here to create orgasmic life and business. And then moving your energy into your throat chakra to activate your voice, to activate you, to speak your truth, to communicate your dreams, speak it into existence. And then breathing into your third eye, right in between your eyebrows and the forehead there, activating, opening your intuition. Calling in your guides, in your practice, source, God, highest self, whoever is on your spirit team. And then opening your crown chakra, allowing divine light to come through, integrating with your soul essence, with your fire. It is safe to be you. It is safe to dream. It is safe to go for what you really want. It is safe to stop pleasing others and live life on your terms. Clearing anything in the way of your path. Aligning, balancing your energy centers. Breathing in. And then breathing out your big vision into the world. Breathing out this beautiful energy. And to move it through energetically into the world. Even if you haven't spoken it, your thoughts matter. Breathing in. Going for what you want unapologetically. You are worthy. You are worthy, my love, to create a life and a business that you deeply desire, that feeds your soul. And if it feeds your soul, it will also feed your soul tribe. Trust that as you create it, you birth this. You expand, and you magnetize. Breathing this in and breathing out your big vision again. And just hanging out with your experience, noticing the sensations you're experiencing with curiosity, noticing downloads you received. I really invite you to take some time to journal what came up and what came through for you, because if it's in you, it's for you. And so it is. Beautiful. And so when you're ready, I'm just going to invite you to find a way to complete your experience. Whether that's anchoring the spoken image, word, or phrase. And then when you're ready, just flow on back out into your environment while keeping the piece of this experience with you. So Savannah, my love, please tell us, how can people find out more about you and your beautiful work in the world?
Well, thank you. Also, I do want to take a moment and just acknowledge how beautiful that meditation was at the end. So thank you for that as well. And your audiences are so lucky to have you.
Thank you.
And my favorite place to hang out is Instagram. I am at Savannah M, as in Marie, Hamilton. And then my website is wild-savannah.com. And you can, Instagram is like my favorite place to hang out. I'm always there. If you guys are listening, you can send me a DM. I answer all of them. If you're interested in the Masterminds, I'd love to have all of you guys. But yeah, oh my gosh, Rosalyn, this was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. And for those who are maybe not near a, well, maybe they don't have a pen or whatever, but like, let's have you spell out your name. I know there's a way to spell it.
There are multiple ways to spell it. And, it's so funny. I always wanted to be so different. And when I was like in 8th grade, I tried to spell it even differently than I have now. So
I love the way you
like, I'm going to be so different. But my name is spelled out as Savanah, and then it's M as in Marie. And Hamilton is Hamilton, and that's all together on Instagram.
Thank you, love. And are there any last words you'd like to leave the audience with?
I'm going to take some words from you, but something that stood out during your meditation was, if it's in you, then it's for you. And I believe that if you have something, an idea brewing inside you, you want more, you're meant for more, then go after it, because you only have this one lifetime to live and get it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh, my love. Thank you, Savannah. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. And please do leave us a review. Thank you. Until next time.
Thank you.
Stay wild.